This is MP Cards and Games doing a dinosaur deck profile. I originally actually made another dinosaur deck profile before links, which is still before links, but because I've been unable to upload, and as you might have seen from the few month things from the hiatus, the new Battles of Legends set ended up coming out before I could upload it, so I ended up getting a few packs, and this is what I got with the Battle of Legends, and what I had also pulled very recently. To just spoil something, I did get a diagram very recently. It is a very expensive card, and if I have time, I'll try to make a budget deck profile of this without diagram, because I never used to have diagrams. But this is the one where I only have one copy of diagram, I only have 3, and this is a 45 card deck. I used to run it at 40, but for some reason a lot of the time it seems more consistent with more cards than less consistent with less cards. It doesn't make sense, but that's how it's worked for me. For the hand traps, we run the 1 Maxi, 2 Ghost Ogre. I would run 3, but the deck room is pretty tight. Then we run our 1 Garnet / Duracolo. We don't run Brilliant Fusion, but the Duracolo can be a Garnet, but it is really good. If you can't afford the Duracolo, I could show in a budget deck a budget out when I do my budget deck profile. But it's now only $6. When I first got it, it was just before it went down, so it was a bit annoying because I paid it full price and then it went down. For our babies, I run 3 baby Cerosaurus, 2 Petite Pteranodon. When I didn't have diagram, this was just bricking way too much, and this is the worse one. This was just not as good. Like with diagram, you sort of needed it a bit more, but I'm not 100% sure if I want to put it at 3, because at this stage I like this ratio to have the 5 babies. Then you got 1 Tyranno Infinity, because you can OTK, and also if you run really low on resources and you really can't get this with a big body, you can always just make an Exceed with it. Now for the Stratos of the deck, 3 Oviraptor. This is like the best card because it allows you to search for all your dinos, including a Kaiju dino. And it also allows to be a mini sort of like Call the Haunted. I don't know why this card's at 3 and Stratos isn't, but still I don't really care about Stratos. Not trying to piss anyone off, but I do hope it comes back for you guys, but like, I've never really played Elemental Heroes. 3 Miscellaneous Saurus. This is like a Lance, but only on your main phase. It does not protect you during the battle phase, but you mostly use this to vanish to Special Dracolo or any other monsters any other dinosaur monsters, which is better in the late game. Also good in the early game to try to make your calamities, because this is also a True King version. 1 Great Rex. I would like to bump this up, but I've only pulled 1 at the moment, and it's a lot better than what I used to run. I used to run the Megalo Smasher, but this is a lot better of a card. I only ran the Megalo Smasher because the one problem I have with this deck is resource management, which is a bit annoying sometimes when you're running really low on resources. So I run the 1 Giant Rex because it also specials itself, so you Exceed, do your plays, vanish, make another one of these. Then we run the Dolgaron. You can search this off with Oviraptor, and because it's a Kaiju, it's really good to tribute over your opponent's stuff. 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyrannos, because even when the new cards that can special it from the deck didn't come out, I still ran 2 because I like this ratio. Especially if you don't have diagram, definitely run 2. But I just like 2, and it has helped me win a few games with the 2. Now for the True King engine, I run 3 Lithogasm and 1 of this. If I had 3 diagram, I would run the Water Guy. I do actually own the Water Guy, but I'm not running him because it just like it's too bricky, because you can't actually summon it now that I'd no longer run the Megalo. Also, I used to have another one of the Fire Guy, but I traded it before the card got expensive, so that was a bit annoying, but it doesn't really matter. I don't really need to get another one. I like this ratio. So I run the 1 diagram, of course. I run the one Lost World. I used to run 2 even with the 1 diagram. Before the diagram I ran 3, and if you do not have diagram, definitely run 3 of this. But just because of some of the new cards that just came out, I've decided to just put it down to 1 because it's still good, but it isn't 100% needed anymore. Then you got 3 terraforming. I was debating on putting this down instead of the Lost World, but you really want to get the diagram as quick as possible. And even if you draw multiple of these, like let's say if you draw 3, which isn't a very good opening hand, but because you only have 2 targets, you search your 2 targets, then you use diagram to destroy the terraforming if you don't have a baby. And then we run, for our other searches, we run 3 fossil dig, which is pretty much Rota for dinos, but slightly better because you can search all the way from level 6 to level 1. Then we run for the reborn sort of stuff, or for the special summoning spells, we run 1 instant fusion. I'm debating on still running it. Norden is banned, but I am running rare fish. I'm very debating on if I should take that out or not, but there are a few situations where this is good, especially if you only end up with a miscellaneous in this or something. At least you can make an Abyss Dweller. The 1 Soul Shard's really good. If you draw this and draw like a hand that can make a Calamities, you can probably at least make a Calamities and a Nichiria Beast and probably something else to go with it. Double Evolution Pill, this is, at this stage, this is just testing because I really only just got this card, but it doesn't seem too bad in theory. It's vanished 1 dinosaur monster and 1 non-dinosaur monster from your hand or graveyard. Special summon 1 level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So that's another reason why I'm also running 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno at the moment, because you can play this and you'd probably more prefer Engrave, but you can vanish either like any other dino, and you can vanish a True King or a Max C from your grave, or a Ghost Ogre from your grave, and then get an instant Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Or you can get like your Kaiju, so you can't get Kaiju'd, which isn't too bad. More the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is better though. This I've only run at 1 because this is a better late game card than early game, because I used to think you only had to... when I first read it, I thought it was better than what it actually is. I actually have a second one, but like I said, it's better late game than early game. It says vanish 2 or more monsters from your graveyard. Special summon 1 dinosaur monster from your hand or graveyard. Those levels equal to the levels of the monsters you vanished. So if you more want to vanish the babies once you've used them with this, so you can get a level 4, but and then you can bring it back from the grave or the field, so this is better late game. You can actually bring Ultimate Conductor Tyranno back with it, but the thing about that is it has to have already been successfully summoned and sent to the grave. You couldn't just do it from the hand because it doesn't ignore the summoning conditions like the last card. Then we run 1 Dark Hole, so if you brick like with a baby or something and you're going second, you have a baby, a Dark Hole, and maybe like other spells that don't help your game state. You just activate Dark Hole, destroy their Zodiac field, and destroy your baby, but then you get the Overraptor, and then you can at least do some plays there. Then you got the 1 Regeki, good against Zoo, good a lot of the time, unless we have cards that float in the game, and even then they have to be really broke, or then Regeki. Regeki is good. I run 1 Twin Twisters, I don't run any more back row removal. I do side another card, but deck space, and also you don't always want to discard. Then you have Forbidden Chalice, just a good card. I was originally thinking of running Book of Moon, but this is sort of better because when links come around, this will be better because you can't actually flip links. Plus, if you ever need that 400 attack just for some odd reason, you could always do it on your own stuff. Then you got this Pot of Equivocness. This is a tech that I have put into the deck. It's very spicy in my opinion. I don't see many other people running it, but I like it because if you like use any of your vanishing cards, most of the time Miscellaneousaurus, and if you draw this, you can sometimes vanish your good cards from grave, and then you can just shuffle them back into the deck. Because the grind game's the thing I've never liked about this deck, so I've tried to make it the best during the grind game as possible, because it uses a lot of its resources turn 1, which makes really cool boards. But then if your opponent breaks that board, you cry, so you need to actually use stuff that gives you resources. Now for the traps, 1 Imperial Order, a really good card. I think like it's a blowout against most matchups. Occasionally it hurts you, but normally it hurts your opponent more than you, because a lot of these spells you don't actually need. Like Diagram's one of the only ones you actually need to win the game. Like Fossil Dig's good because it is a rotor, but most of the win conditions in your monsters, not your spells. Not like something how a 60 card deck was, or Pendulums, you need your spells. Then you got my Solemns. I only have 1 Solemn Strike, but I run 1 Solemn Warning and 1 Solemn Strike. Really good cards. But when Solemn Strike gets reprinted as a super, I will be getting more. Now for the extra deck, I run the 1 Rare Fish, the instant fusion target. Still debating on if I should run this or not. And I run the 1 Danglong. If I was running the Yangzing version, which I don't have enough Yangzings to actually run the Yangzing version, I'd bump this up to 2. But 1 Danglong, it pretty much allows you, this is the effect that we use it for, to send the True King. It gains the levels, so then you can make a True King of all calamities easier. 1 Ally of Justice Catasta. I would run that one that allows you to attack twice, but I don't own that card. And I do have a Marty's, but like this can be good in the weird situation where your opponent actually has a bigger beater than you, and you can't make calamities, or your ultimate conductor. Naturia Beast, you can make this by using calamities as effect, and if you have something like Soul Charge or an Overraptor with another monster on board, you can still make a Nat Beast and a calamities first turn, sometimes even a Lagia to go with it, and that's a really nice board. 1 Trish, because you can actually make calamities with Trish, and Trish is just good for vanishing and everything. And I'm happy to, I'm sort of sad that it got reprinted, but I'm happy as well, like, that it got reprinted in Battles of Legend. I had pulled 2 in the past, traded 2, and then I got this one, and then it's just gotten reprinted. But I'll be happy to say that I can actually probably put this in the budget version now, because it's not too hard to get now, so it's probably going to be a lot cheaper. So I could probably put Trish in the budget version now for budget players, for the under $150 version of this deck. In Australian. In America, I think it's like even under $100, which isn't too bad. We run the 1 Bistuella, really great against Mirror Match, good against Light Swans, good against if you somehow find Burning Abyss. I haven't versed a Burning Abyss deck with this deck, but you just never know. 1 Digustful again to recuperate resources. I don't make this very often, but when I do, it's when I need to get my resources back. I might not have a bad board, but it's more that I've run out of most of my resources, so it's really good to recuperate resources. 1 Gaga Samurai, because this can OTK, plus you can straight away detach off it. So if you actually need to use, like let's say you have 3 monsters in your grave and you want to make a 4 with miscellaneous, and there's a miscellaneous in your grave but you only got 3, and you have this instead of other Exceeds like Castel, where you'd need to have or Utopia the Lightning or something, where you need to have a target. Instead you can just straight away detach, and then you can just banish those resources and special, so it frees up the Xyz units as well. 1 Castel, good to shuffle a card back into your deck, and it's really good removal. 101, most people don't run this anymore because of Castel, but in some situations in other decks I play in the past, this can sometimes be better. Because let's say you have a Dark Hole or something, and then you take one of their monsters, let's say they still have a board, you activate Dark Hole and it can protect itself. I like the protection effect. Sometimes that becomes a better situation than Castel, in my opinion. 1 Lagia, I did actually originally order 2, but I only ever got 1. I did get a refund for the second one, and I don't own a Dolka either, so it's really all I could get. But I'd recommend at least 1 Lagia. You need at least 1 Lagia, or a Dolka, if you want to play this deck. Then you got, if you want to play this decently, play this deck decently. 1 Utopia the Lightning, really good cards, and it was really good over here in Australia and in Europe, how we got it in the Dark Illusion set, not like you Americans who got it like months before us, but you didn't get that, so we got it easier accessible. 2 Calamities, I used to only run 1. If you're not playing Diagram, I'd probably more recommend running only 1 Calamities, but now that I am running Diagram, 2 is a lot better because you can make it, and it's less situational than without the Diagram. Then to the extra deck. First of all, this is just a token that I customly made from the trap card in the structure deck. So when you activate Lost World, just give that token to my opponent. If you put a comment, put comments below if you actually want me to do a video showing you how to make your own custom tokens, and I can do that. If I get 10 likes on this video, I will do that video as soon as possible. Once I get the 10 likes and I get enough comments saying you want me to do that, I will do that. I play One Chain Disappearance against Zodiac. Vanishing their rat peers from their decks is still pretty good. Vanishing any of their normal zoo monsters isn't too bad. Also, I run the 2 Flying Seas. I never used to run this against it in this deck, but I realised Flying Sea is really good against it. I do have another one, but I just don't know where it is. Plus, this side deck's pretty tight, and at casuals you don't see too many zoo. You do see the occasional zoo, and I have won quite a few games with this deck. This deck, when it goes off, it goes off. When it bricks, it just like it's terrible. But when it goes off, it really goes off. Then you got the 3rd Snow, which is good against Zoo and good against a lot of other decks as well. I don't run 3 in the main just because I feel like running 1 in the side's a bit better. Because again, the main deck's also pretty tight. Against True Draco and against Zoo, or against most decks that say break my castle or break my board, you have the 2 Slumber, the Kumungus and the Gamma. You already won 1 Kaiju in main against game 1s against something like True Draco, but this is just extra stuff, and this is good against Zoo. And you can play that, and you can probably side out your Dark Hole against Zoo if you just want to play that. 2 Masker Restricts against True Draco, and let's say a Rogue Monarch player might come one day. Since I've never versed True Draco, I've never ever used this card, or not since Monarch format, but I haven't used it in this deck. 1 Magical Deflector, same, good against True Draco because it stops their diagrams. Also not too bad against against this deck as well, because we also play diagram. But also not too bad against like Zoo and that sort of stuff, so it isn't too bad against decks that rely on their field spell or quick play spell. 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance. I haven't yet pulled a one from Light's Revenge. This is a common one. I picked this up a few weeks before it was announced in Battles of Legend, which is a bit... but again, I hope to eventually get my playset, so I'm not too salty about that. But I run budget, or not budget Anti-Spell anymore, but sort of like other sort of thing like Anti-Spell, Unending Nightmare. Good against True Draco, but also very good against Pendulums. Same as this, they can't play against this. This is sort of like a little bit better though against Pendulums. Like, I originally thought this was better, but like in some cases this card is better because it costs nothing, and if you're going first and you activate it, you literally beat Pendulums. Unless they have like the MST or the Twin Twisters or the Spell Destruction. But with this card, if you are going second, you can still pop their Pendulum Scales, not like this card how you have to go first unless they pre-pop it themselves, which they probably won't once they see the anti-spell flip. But it's also not too bad against other decks like Blue Eyes and other decks that are really spell reliant who need their spells first turn. And can also combo like when you have this against Pendulums, and then if they have any hope of surviving by activating their other spells, you can sometimes have Imperial Order as well. 1 Twin Twisters against the Rogue matchups and against like Pendulums and all that sort of stuff, and 1 DD Crow against if anyone's still playing 60 card decks or still playing like Light Swans or something. I hopefully will come out with a budget version of this deck profile, but this is MP Cars and Games, and I am back, boys. This is MP Cars and Games. So, sorry about what I'm doing now. I don't actually have my camera with me, and I got a few new cards for this deck, so this deck has changed a little bit since the rest of the deck profile. Just because of a few new cards that I got literally like today, and I'm gonna be uploading this in like probably 5 or 10 minutes after I do this part of the video. So what I ended up getting, I ended up getting a second giant Rex. So I ended up taking a space-time transgender, or not transgender, but yeah, just this card, because it's like okay, but it's really only good for the grind game, as this card's good for like most of the game. It's one of the best dinos in the deck, one of the best, not the best, but one of the best, and you really need babies to make this good. So yeah, I ended up taking that out, and also because I got a Lagia and a second Lagia, and I got a Dolka off trade today. I took out my rare fish, and because of that I had to take out my instant fusion or it's dead, and I also took out 101. If you don't have 3 copies of these, I would recommend keeping to my 101. It was so hard to decide to take out 101 or something like Gagaga Samurai, but unfortunately with Gagaga Samurai is just slightly better because it allows a bit more OTKs, and you can also just detach straight away if you need it. So yeah, but I'd recommend if you don't have enough Lagia and Dolkas, keep the 101, and then that will probably be my budget version. So I took out the instant fusion and I put in a Gold Sark, because one good play that you can do with the Giant Rex and Gold Sark is if you draw the Gold Sark and you haven't drawn your 2 Giant Rexes, is you can activate this, send Giant Rex to the Vanish pile, then it instantly special summons itself. So it's a really good play. I'm debating on if I want to actually bump Gold Sark up to 3. I'm really debating if I want to bump up Gold Sark to 3. Which is still a debate for me, because the deck is pretty tight at the moment, and I would recommend, if you don't have some of the cards that I do in the deck, like Diagram, run 3 Gold Sark if you have Giant Rex. And also I took out 1 Masker Restrict and 1 Chain Disappearance. I don't know where I put my Masker Restrict right now. I know like I've got it somewhere, but like it'd be a bit harder to find. And instead I pulled a Denko Sekka today, so I sided that in, and I also have in my side deck a second anti-spell that I also pulled today. The good things, the reasons why I no longer run Denko, I no longer run Mask Restrict, and I no longer run Mask Restrict and Chain Disappearance is I do have a lot of Zoo Hate still in the side deck, and even some in the main. Like I still have like the Ghost Ogres, the Flying Seas, the Interrupted Slumbers, and all that sort of stuff. And again, the True Dracos. I still run 1 Mask Restrict against True Draco, but I actually have never versed a True Draco player. And since I'm at casuals, like most people don't have True Draco, a few people have Zoo, because a few people just come in and play Zoo every now and then. But I'd rather have Denko Sekka at the moment instead of running 2 dead cards inside. Occasionally Mask Restrict isn't too bad against Kaijus, but it's like, it's still probably better for me to run a Denko Sekka inside. Because if I ever verse that Rogue matchup, which can be fairly, not often, but like a bit more than what I've seen True Draco at somewhere like casuals, this can be like a really good card against them, and it can also be good against a few other decks. So that's why I wanted to run at least 1 Denko inside. If I had more, I probably would run more inside. And then Anti-Spell Fragrance. Again, it's not just good against pendulums, it's good against any deck that really needs to turbo out their spells like really fast, and sometimes if they can't get their spell line up quick enough, they're pretty much over. And that's now I have 2 anti-spell. I still run the Unending Nightmare, which I might decide to put back either the Mask Restrict or the Chain Disappearance, but at the moment this card's good against also True Draco, again, and also against Pendulums, because if they already have an established board, this card is still better than Anti-Spell Fragrance. But yes, I've taken out the Chain Disappearance and the Mask Restrict to add in the Denko and the Anti-Spell today. Also, before I end the video, as I said earlier on in the video, I want to show you how to make your own custom token, similar to this, probably better because this wasn't the best one I've made. But I would love to show you that. Also, I will try to have a video planned on the post-Link dinosaurs and True King dinosaurs, and also a budget version, hopefully maybe before Links, so I can show you how to make a budget version, especially if you can't afford stuff like Diagram. It will be under 150 bucks Australian, but because in America it's worth, our money's worth less, so their money's worth more to us, so we have to pay more all up. So to Americans it will probably be more closer to like $70 to $100, but for Australians and probably New Zealanders and Canadians it would be closer to 150 to between 150 and 100 for the deck that the budget deck I'm gonna be showing, which is still a lot cheaper than running like a $50 Diagram and running a lot of expensive cards. And it's good with the Battles of Legends like Revenge, how I can put in a few better cards now, like Trish, because they're just gotten way cheaper. And also, if you want to see learn how to make your own custom token, I will make that video if I get at least 25 subscribers by October the 1st, and I'll show you how to make your own custom token, which would be pretty good during Links. And if I get enough subscribers, in that token video I might do a giveaway, and I'll tell you the conditions of the giveaway in the video. If I make that video, I'll probably make a custom token for that person. I'll try to probably use a decent card, like I wouldn't just use something that's like poop like I do with my normal custom tokens. But I wouldn't use anything that costs like over like $5. Unless it's something from Duelist Saga, from Battles of Legends that I pulled quite a few of, just because, like, I'm not the richest of players. I pulled the Diagram, it wasn't I paid for the Diagram. And this is MP Cards and Games signing out. And I'm sorry about the having to do at the end of this video, the computer. It was just I wanted to really get this uploaded. And I want to make more videos for you guys. I want to go back to my old schedule, at least once a week, maybe even more, maybe twice a week if I can. I don't want to leave like a month again, because I just felt so bad. It was just I didn't have time to upload these videos. And MP Cards and Games signing out.